If you stand very still on the slope of the downs, on a day without shadows, crystal glass clear, you can hear a song through the whispering trees, a song of history from the village there. Look down on the river winding below. Hear murmur of voices in village street. The countryside has a story to tell, a tale never finished, never complete. Do you hear a prayer from the Norman church by Copper Beech and Dreaming Grave? King Henry's palace is crumbling now, a part of history, too late to save. There's a pilgrim sandal on White Chalk Way that leads to Canterbury's distant bell. A shout of laughter, a snatch of song, a call for a traveller, a tale to tell. As you step down from the singing hill and stroll with us through the blossom-filled air, we'll show you England's story here, in Kentish village, in country fair. Look, the village is stirring to morning bustle. Cars and commuters, and post is round. Morning milk and greens and bread. And children to school to the old bell's sound. And seeing the children going perhaps reluctantly to school, as Shakespeare would have it. Let's now look at the young of the village, who after all are the future. And we'll start at the very beginning. There were 49 babies born to Otford families during 1994. All bonny, of course. There are activity groups to gain one's landing ability, one's jump ability, and one's balance. For drivers of the future, secretaries, and artists for both peace and war. For exhibitionists, future engineers, and mothers. A little older now, and the rainbow section of the Brownies are practising beanbag dexterity. While at the Brownies, cheesy bugs are of a particular interest today. And the other pack is making a mothering Sunday cake for their unsuspecting parent. The beavers and cubs can give free rein to their adventurous spirits in the chalk pit.
Jason! Aha! You're going to give it to me? Yes!
The county primary school dates from the early 19th century, and the pupils' education is enhanced by regular trips to the village library, where today they're talking about the sea mural they made as a project.
First, we had to plan it all out and draw some to paper, and Then we just had to draw it with pencil onto the board. Then we just painted it and did all the details and patterns into it at the end.
Right, and this is how it turned out.
Yeah.
It's really super, isn't it?
Yeah. We did all the sea.
We had to draw the outline of the octopus, then get glue and stick all bits of paper tissue around the top of it to make it stand out.
We visited Russell House on their open day. The exhibitions included a Second World War scenario with many wartime relics on show, and the pupils had made topical newspapers. There were paintings using the Surat technique, a series of dots, and historical Otford, where local finds had been loaned for the occasion. The Watch Club, started 2 years ago, encourages pupils to care about their environment. Taking trips out to ponds and other local wildlife areas, they study all forms of plant and animal life. A badge award scheme spurs them on in their endeavours. There are some unusual inhabitants at the bottom of the school field. Who are you calling unusual? Back in the schoolroom, students were eager to show us their current activities, from the spinning colour wheel and various technical experiments to matters of time and motion, and building a computer no less. They were keenly enthusiastic, and who knows what the future holds for these budding engineers. Meanwhile, at a much lower level, prospective customers are given the place the once over, and the youngest class is getting ready for its big event. Another important part of the school curriculum is sport. Here the pupils are playing short tennis. It was a glorious summer day and the opening of their cricket pavilion. The school is set in beautiful surroundings. And at this social event, dads and granddads became boys again. Heads were protected by the latest fashion in hats, and faces were tastefully painted.
There you go. You like it? Have a look.
Both young and old were having a really super day. Meanwhile, back on the village recreation ground, work was still in progress on the long-awaited children's play area. There had been so many hold-ups while awaiting health and safety approval. Children waited with bated breath. Was it ever going to be ready? At last, the first customers were sampling its possibilities. Apparently it met the required standard. The health of the young, and indeed the whole village, is looked after by the Otford medical practice and the pharmacist nearby. With fears of a possible measles epidemic, inoculations were given to all children. Comforters were encouraged for the apprehensive. Ow! A painful surprise to some. More pleasant activities are provided by the most essential cycling proficiency training course for the rather uncertain biker. Thanks go to the volunteers who train these children. Timid and intrepid swimmers are encouraged to gain confidence and improve their skills. The Judo Club, nearly 25 years old, encourages youngsters in self-defence, sometimes somewhat laboriously. Junior cricket is always a popular pastime. Spiritually, the young are catered for by the churches, with the First Steps Club for toddlers and their mums, and the After School Kingdom Club for the older children. Meanwhile, the guides are learning about orienteering.
We're trying to find a compass bearing on this map. The red arrow goes in line with the blue arrow, like that. You take it off the map, you stand up, and you walk around until you get it right. Then that's the way you want to go.
Well, let's hope they don't lose the compass. The Scout Troop plays an important part in the village life, and the Scout patrol leaders are also planning an orienteering exercise. The idea is to be an incident hike. The patrol leaders will give the boys a 30-minute map reading practice and preparation time.
And we will send them off in the minibus, and then without our help they will try and get themselves back to the scout hut.
The Scouts are also erecting pioneering apparatus for the cubs. And of course you've got to try it out to make sure it's safe. Grown-ups have a more relaxing way of unwinding. The Saturday morning bric-a-brac and coffee morning is very popular. Most summer weekends you will find cricket on the green. And in the winter, one of the many football teams will probably have a match. A variety of sports is available for all ages. The Bowls Club has 3 teams in the league. The pubs have pool and bat and trap, which is often played in the dark. So many different sports and pastimes go on in Otford, and we mustn't forget the badminton club, which will unfortunately close at the end of the year. On the arts side, we have the Otford Players, whose next production will be David Copperfield. They try to get the costumes as authentic as possible. And of course they must be comfortable too.
This is Rosa Darkling, my mother's companion. How do you do?
The WIs, both afternoon and evening, have members in the District WI Choir, here entertaining the very popular luncheon club for senior citizens. The Darby and Joan Club are doing Irving Berlin proud with their Easter bonnets. From paper flowers to the real thing. Otford Gardeners Show. The morning is spent choosing your most perfect blooms. There's a lot of activity on the allotments too. Harvesting your crops is the best part. Nothing tastes as good as home-grown veg. Back at the show, the judges have made their decisions, and members and friends spend a pleasant afternoon having a cup of tea and viewing their exhibits. It's nearly time for the prize giving.
So, 10 firsts, 7 seconds, 3 thirds, and a triple ball.
The prize winners could celebrate by having a glass or two at the wine club, and then in the evening work it off with the folk dance club as they celebrate 21 years of dancing.
And you move right on to the next one on the circle to the left. Surround those two. Let's all do that bit together.
As you can see, so much goes on in Otford, but 1994 was special. It being the centenary of the parish councils, so we were busier than ever. Otford Parish Council had much to do before the celebrations could take place. Regular parish matters are discussed, and the parish council annual meeting takes priority.
At the recent annual general meeting of the Offence Society,
This meeting is well supported by villagers, when local matters can be openly debated. Now for the important matter of the celebrations. Amongst such events as a quiz, football match, question time and a barn dance, we had the exhibition of local clubs and societies, where every aspect of village leisure life could be seen. One could do something every night of the week if one desired. Things sporty, crafty, musical and horticultural. In fact, a whole range of activities enthusiastically supported. No need to be a retiring bloom in Otford. Photographs depicting 100 years of life in Otford caused great interest. How things have changed. British Rail, when approached, gave the green light to an exhibition of steam and modes of transport at the station, which is now 112 years old. It just had to be part of the celebrations. We were entertained by the Southern Ragga Jazz band. An impressive display of vintage motorcycles was presented by their proud owners. How stylish the old station looked way back in 1911 with its ornate footbridge and signal box, which was demolished in 1970. What a sight when trains like the Golden Arrow thundered through. I wonder what Mr. Willis, the station master, would have thought of today. A Victorian tennis match was played by members of Otford Club. It was extremely cold and snow was in the air. As we all know, some are not as fortunate as ourselves. The serious road trip was Otford's chance to send help to Bosnia, and as always they were more than generous.
This is Linda and Charlie from the Serious Road Trip, and they're down in the Otford Station car park today, Easter Monday, and we've had a series of visitors here with cars, people on foot, bikes, everything, bringing bags of food, pots and pans and everything to go out to Bosnia.
Tim, our local Bobby, also travels far and wide.
Right. Well, 4 years ago, my wife bought me this book, Hay on Wye, at the second-hand book centre of the country. And for the result of that, I did that walk, and I've been walking ever since.
What a wealth of other local talent was shown at the Great Art and Craft exhibition. Pictures in every medium, and sculptures too, both in clay and sugar, beautiful dolls of various sizes and shapes, and their living accommodation. All the schools in Otford exhibited too, making a vivid and bright contribution to the day. It seems that the artistic future of the village is in good hands. In the church, the beauty of Handel's Messiah was heard, performed by local choirs. A wedding is announced in the Gundermay household. We must get organised. First things first, get a haircut. Otford has a variety of shops and can provide everything we need. But first, that haircut. Now where's Stan? Here he comes. These must be the fittest dogs in Otford. Now the reception first. Champagne. We must get our priorities right. There's the cake to make too. 3 or 2 tier. The flowers to order. Yellow? No, I think pink. Must do the patio tubs. I'd like the caterers to use the local butchers, and we'll need several turkeys and a leg of ham or 2. They could get the French sticks from the bakers. Well, that's the butcher, the baker, and what about the candlestick maker? Well, perhaps not candles, but we could do with some pretty serviettes. Invitations and order of service next. Where's my guest list? Mustn't forget great Aunt Margaret. We must get on with the posting. Right, that's everything else sorted. Now what am I going to wear? Oh yes, I like that. Yes, that's the one. Now for the accessories. Don't forget the undies. The crowning glory. Just a hair appointment to book and we're ready for the big day. Oh, absolutely perfect. Churches too had a celebration commemorating the foundation of the Christian Church. The barbecue and games day was rather wet, but still a good time was had by all. I don't know who was enjoying themselves the most, the children or the grown-ups. Typically British, braving the elements to prepare the meal. St Bartholomew's Church Fete was given special emphasis this year. Held at Castle House, it's a really good family day and well supported by local people as well as past residents of Otford. The theme of the fete this year was the family, and stall holders dressed their stalls hoping to win a prize. The weather had been lovely. The whole fete had been a great success. In the grounds of Castle House, which was possibly built for the farm manager of the palace, is Becketts Well, where a spring is said to have appeared when Thomas a Becket struck the ground with his staff. Pilgrims always regarded this as a holy place. Water from here feeds the Trout Farm, which also dates back to a medieval stew pond. There is a wealth of historical treasure in Otford, the old parsonage, the courthouse, and the church with its beautifully carved Jacobean font, local family memorials, and the Easter sepulchre with Tudor rose and Aragon pomegranate, possibly commemorating a royal visit to the palace, built by Archbishop Wareham and chosen by the king for his country residence, but he then decided it was too damp. Thankfully, much of Otford's history is still visible and listed and is fiercely protected by residents and parish council. Unique in this country, the pond is also a listed structure. Fed by a spring from a resident's garden, it was originally the village water supply. Today, 3,500 villagers live in a variety of dwellings, from small cottages to family houses, from secluded roads to larger estates. Some only recently built. All, however, enter enthusiastically into the best front garden competition. The judges have narrowed it down to the last few and are making their final decisions. The pubs too are proud of their floral displays, all helping to gain points for the best kept village competition. Litter is always a problem, and some societies organise litter hunts. Members go off armed with their black plastic bin bags and rubber gloves. All this effort resulted in a highly commended. Well done, volunteers. Garden parties were in abundance this year. What a better chance to see over the garden wall. The flowers were breathtaking, and the crowd spent their money, and their generosity benefited many charities. The residents turn out in force for the village fete, which draws hundreds of people from the surrounding area, and it's always a big success.
So this is when you took over all the colonies, was it? Right, okay. You're all sweeps. Hi, Governor. Thanks, darling. Right, okay, listen. I ain't going to talk to you or shake your hands. Yeah, no way what you get out of it.
Hayley Stevens, Ellen Grayson, Becky Tanner, Meredith Lewis, Andrew McCullough, Shirley Ellis.
Is that a lot?
Hello.
And what's your name?
John.
John what?
Paulette.
John Paulette.
Andrew. Chris Ricossi. Sophie. Sophie.
Well done, all of you. What? Yes, well, there we are. That's well done. Look, excuse me, come back. Come back here. Come back here. Look, the camera there. Bow up the camera, please. Thank you. The baby's all right. Did you do that? No, did he? Oh, you're not. Where the T's and the Punch and Judy are, and that is where you will find the small bouncy castle. So I don't know how many teams we've got, but if there are any more teams for the tug of war.
Got it. The village day is closing now. Afternoon light turns to dusk. Tired thoughts turn to supper and bed, and a communal bath if we must. But first perhaps an evening walk to settle the end of the day. To reflect on the rural beauties and charm of the village on the White Chalk Way. Present-day changes bring losses for some, pressure from superstores closing them down. We try to maintain our village life. Don't make us a part of the nearby town. Changes will happen, this we know, but hopefully nothing our village to mar. We'll accommodate much, for the better, of course, from the pilgrim donkey to the Eurostar. Well, we've told you some of the story of Otford, and particularly the happenings in this celebration year. As you have seen, the enthusiasm of the residents keeps the village alive. And the future looks good, both for the young and the not so young. So it just leaves us to say, here's to the next 100 years, and the next, and the next.